let me ask you a question about the Niners training staffs. You have a ton of experience with NFL training staffs. Fans get upset when players get injured, especially with Niners, because it seems like they're the most injured team every year. Some of these injuries seem fluky, and unpreventable, like the Fred Warner one. But the re-aggravations, the guy gets hurt, he comes back, they say he's ready to go, but he's not, and he makes the injury worse. Yeturgros Matos the other day re-injured his hamstring in practice. I mean, the famous one is obviously Brock Purdy. So fans say, hey, fire the training staff. They're clearly being too aggressive with these players or throwing them back on the field too soon. Is that the way it works, or are there other factors at play?
Well, I think a lot of it, to be honest, Grant, depends upon the organization and the amount of force, theoretically use that word politely, that a front office or a coaching staff can exert on the training staff about, quote unquote, how ready a player is to get back on the field, how healthy he is, how well is he to go. And the Niners theoretically maybe having some undertones that are forcing the training staff to, quote unquote, say a player's ready to go when the player theoretically may not be ready to go. And I think the fact that the repetitive injuries, like with the Gross-Matos and other guys, when they go back out and they're getting injured in practice, when you're not looking at really aggressive practices like in the old days when you padded up and you had thud drills and things like that. Nowadays, they're walkthroughs, they're jog arounds, they're, like I know one of the offensive line coaches said that his scout team has gotten so bad, he has to line up trash cans to be defensive linemen for him to get through some of the walkthroughs. So, the other day, I think it was with the Saints, the Cowboys the Saints didn't have 10 players for practice. And so you're looking at this type of the season where the injury toll is taking its fact. And so, but I can't fault the training staff. If they have a protocol, they have procedures, they're all certified and they're all educated. And, the bottom line is not all players heal at the same pace with the same injuries at the same time frame.
So you're saying that it's not at all it's common in the NFL for a coaching staff or a front office to go to a training staff and say, hey, we need this guy this week.
It's been done. I can say that. It's been done. It's nothing but a bruise, and the guy has a broken fibula. No, the bottom line is you cannot, if you're in the hunt for a playoff spot, you got to get your players back on the field. And you don't want to have a player who you might think might be a malingerer. And so, there's probably a little bit of subtle pressure that's, brought along to get a guy out there, especially when you're down players at that particular position in the first place.
Well, it's an interesting pattern with the Niners. It precedes Kyle Shanahan, but it does seem with Kyle that he doesn't do a great job of protecting his players. His quarterbacks get injured. His running backs, he seems to run them into the ground until they get injured and then go on to the next one. And of course, his dad had the same pattern with Terrell Davis, famously just gave him as many carries as his body could physically handle until he couldn't handle them anymore.